What is up, 12s? The intensity is rising in Seattle as training camp approaches, and while we are all still buzzing from that Super Bowl run, the brutal reality of the NFL is hitting us hard. Our roster is stacked, but not everyone can make the final 53. I have some inside information on 3 veterans currently on the bubble who might not survive the final cuts. You need to hear who is at risk? Before we dive into these tough decisions, help our community grow by subscribing. We need you to hit that milestone of 1,000 subscribers to keep our passion alive. The Seattle Seahawks are officially transitioning into the most intense phase of the calendar as 90 players prepare to battle for the 53 spots available to begin the regular season. This training camp carries massive weight, especially coming off a Super Bowl victory in February. Yet the reality remains that not everyone can stay on the final roster. 3 specific players face an uphill climb to secure their place: Emmanuel Wilson, Harrison Bryant, and Noah Igbinoghene. We are closely monitoring the competition as the Seahawks aim to solidify a championship-caliber team. Emmanuel Wilson, the running back brought in on a 1-year, $2 million deal, faces a direct, high-stakes challenge against Kenny McIntosh for the final running back position. This scenario is predicated on the assumption that Zach Charbonnet will open the season on the physically unable to perform list. While the team has already cemented spots for rookie first-round pick Jadarian Price and George Halani, the roster math gets complicated with the presence of fullbacks Robbie Oots and Brady Russell. Wilson possesses an advantage due to his experience as a backup with the Green Bay Packers last season, but McIntosh holds the edge of seniority and internal familiarity. Ultimately, for the 3rd or 4th running back, the deciding factor will be the ability to contribute on special teams. Currently, McIntosh is viewed as having the upper hand in that crucial area. Go Hawks! As the team prepares for the upcoming challenges, every single rep in training camp becomes vital for these men fighting to maintain their NFL careers. The battle for the backfield is a prime example of how difficult the cuts will be for the front office and the coaching staff this summer. Harrison Bryant is another veteran whose status is currently precarious as the Seahawks head toward the final roster. Cut down. Brought in this offseason to bolster the tight end room, Bryant faces a crowded positional group that could prove to be a revolving door. The team already carries A.J. Barner, Elijah Arroyo, and Eric Sauber, while also managing the development of 2025 undrafted free agent Nick Callerup and this year's undrafted free agent Lance Mason. With 6 years of NFL experience, Bryant brings proven talent, yet he appears to be functioning largely as a camp body at this stage. His situation highlights the intense nature of training camp, where veteran experience often clashes with the team's desire to cultivate younger players, or those with higher upside. If Bryant does not secure a spot in Seattle, his history suggests he could still be a viable depth piece for other organizations in 2026. This matters right now because the tight end position requires precise chemistry with the quarterbacks, and the team needs to determine its preferred rotation before the season starts. The competition here is not just about raw talent, but about who can provide the most consistency in both blocking and receiving roles within the specific offensive system. The coaching staff is watching these reps intently to see who fits best alongside the existing starters. With limited roster spots available, the presence of multiple undrafted free agents alongside veterans like Bryant creates a scenario where every single practice session serves as an evaluation. The tight end room will look significantly different once the final 53-man roster is submitted, and Bryant's role remains one of the most monitored storylines heading into the final stages of the preseason preparation. The secondary also features a significant logjam that directly impacts cornerback Noah Igbinoghene. His chances of making the cut would have been much higher had the Seahawks not invested heavily in the secondary during the most recent NFL draft. The team selected 4 defensive backs: Julian Neal, Bud Clark, Michael Dansby, and Andre Fuller. This influx of young talent provides immense depth, which unfortunately places Igbinoghene in a difficult position. The Seahawks are expected to start Josh Jobe and Devin Witherspoon at cornerback. The coaching staff will clearly prioritize the development of their recent draft picks for the remaining reserve roles. Both Neal and Fuller are currently competing for the primary backup spots, which significantly squeezes the available space for veterans signed earlier in the offseason. Furthermore, Michael Dansby is in the mix for the final roster spots, creating a situation where the front office is likely to favor their recent selections over players like Igbinoghene, who are new to the team system. For a player like Igbenegani, the goal is to demonstrate superior coverage skills and versatility during the limited training camp timeframe. But the sheer volume of draft capital spent on the secondary makes the hill much steeper to climb. This matters because depth in the defensive backfield is paramount to sustaining success throughout a long NFL season. The team needs reliable players who can step in at a moment's notice, and the competition between these rookies and the veterans is designed to bring out the highest level of performance from everyone involved. As the team inches closer to the final cuts, the evaluation of the secondary will remain one of the most critical elements of the overall roster management strategy for the season. The strategic decisions regarding Emmanuel Wilson, Harrison Bryant, and Noah Igbenegane are driven by the specific roster dynamics currently unfolding at Seahawks training camp. For Wilson, the path to the 53-man roster is blocked by the specific skills needed on special teams, an area where McIntosh currently leads. For Bryant, the sheer number of tight ends on the roster necessitates a reduction, as the team cannot realistically carry everyone currently in the building. Finally, for Igbenegane, the organization's commitment to the 4 defensive backs selected in the draft creates an environment where a veteran move is naturally deprioritized in favor of youth and development. Every decision made by the team is a calculated move to balance the current Super Bowl winning roster with the long-term needs of the franchise. It is important to remember that these scenarios are based on the current roster composition and the specific requirements for special teams and defensive depth. The volatility of training camp means that positions can shift rapidly, yet these 3 players represent the most immediate focus for observers looking at who might be on the outside looking in. The team's approach is to foster competition, and the players recognize that every drill and exhibition game serves as their resume for the league. As the training camp concludes, the final 53 will be chosen based on these specific battles, and it is clear that the front office has no easy decisions to make regarding the final structure of the squad. The combination of established veterans fighting for their jobs and young players looking to prove their worth is what defines this period of the year for the organization. All eyes remain on the final roster selections. Looking at the broader impact, these roster battles define the identity of the team heading into the next chapter of their journey. The competition involving Emmanuel Wilson, Harrison Bryant, and Noah Igbenegane is merely a microcosm of the intense environment inside the building. While fans often focus on the stars, the strength of a championship team is frequently determined by the decisions made at the bottom of the roster. The depth players must be ready to contribute at a high level if injuries occur during the grueling grind of the NFL season. For the Seahawks, the goal remains the same: curate the most talented and efficient group possible within the league's strict roster limits. The fact that the team is deep enough to have meaningful competition for the final spots speaks to the quality of the recent roster management. Each player mentioned, Wilson, Bryant, and Igbenegane, understands the stakes. They are not just fighting for a spot in Seattle, but effectively auditioning for the entire league. This is a common reality for NFL players during the transition from training camp to the regular season. Yet the level of intensity is amplified by the high expectations surrounding this team after their success in February. As the final weeks of training camp approach, the coaching staff will monitor who handles the pressure best, who learns the playbook fastest, and who ultimately makes the most of their limited opportunities. The final roster will be a reflection of these intense weeks of evaluation. Whether it is a veteran trying to hold on to a job or a newcomer fighting for a dream, the process remains ruthless. The Seahawks are preparing for another run, and that journey starts with the difficult task of selecting the right men for the job.